why aren't women investing? So I started interviewing all of my friends who are in commercial real estate on a daily basis. They have free insider trading. I'm like, why are you not? Are you investing? Yes. What are you investing in? The stock market. What do you know about that? You're in commercial real estate. Why are you not? Well, I don't have $1 million. Oh, you don't need $1 million. Well, it's too risky. You don't think the stock market's risky? My Netflix stock dropped 80% in 2020. Well, I'm afraid. What are you afraid of? Losing money. Well, you could lose money in the stock market. So then I'd keep asking because I was like a dog with a bone. And then it would really come down to, I don't know any women doing it. Well, that makes sense because there's only 3%. So I said, that's a problem I'm going to work on.
Hey everyone, real quick, I want to come to you and let you know that Beth Azor is actually hosting a women's real estate investing conference in Dania Beach, Florida, March 13th and 14th. And I'm actually going to be a speaker at the conference. Tickets are almost sold out. So I want you to know now, in case you are in the Florida area, this is right outside of the Fort Lauderdale airport. If you are free on March 13th and 14th and want to come network with a bunch of other ridiculously, insanely successful women real estate investors and be a part of the audience and hear so many other speakers who are going to bring so much value. I can't wait to be a part of that because I want to hear what everyone else is doing and so we can all uplift each other. So if you're available March 13th and 14th, hurry up, grab your ticket. They are almost sold out. I think there's only like 20 tickets left the last time I heard. So now on to the show. The link is in the show notes. The first link in the show notes is going to be to the conference so you can get more information and grab your tickets, and I will see you there. Now to the show.
Welcome to the Share the Wealth Show, where minority professionals can learn to escape the racial wealth gap and catapult themselves into abundance. Your host, Nicole Pendergrass, grew her net worth from being negative to multiple six figures. Join her on her investigative mission to expose secret strategies of the wealthy so we can all have the tools needed to build the life and legacy we were created to possess. Now it's time for the show.
Hey guys, so we're back again. This is the second part of the episode with today's guest. I need you, if you have not heard part one, go back to the previous episode and listen to that first, and then come back and join us here today. You need to hear the whole conversation. This is why we split into two parts. There's so many nuggets. It's so juicy. Go back and listen to the first part. How did you find that? Like all the other things you had to learn to make that happen.
So I found the deal because we were doing a deal next door. And I actually brought this to my boss earlier. I said, we should buy this out parcel. It's 1.77 acres. They want 1.2 million. I think it's worth 2 million. We should buy it. And he said, oh, it's too small for us. So fast forward 6 months later, I leave the company. I drive by, I see it's still available. I call, it's still available. I tried to negotiate the 1.2 and they said, no, it's a hard 1.2, but I knew it was worth about 2 million. So I called my friends and I said, let me find 12 friends for 100,000 each. And that was harder than I thought. I took my 3 best girlfriends to dinner where you could look out. They go, why are we here at this place? I go, well, see out that window, that lot, we're going to buy that. And they're like, no. And they were in the business. And I said, no, this is like a great opportunity. It's a great deal. And they're like, no. And then I went to a bunch of guys and the guys started signing up. And the minute the guys started signing up, then my 3 girlfriends came in.
Of course.
Which is an issue about women who,
yes,
this is a bigger topic, but
yes.
So we ended up, I think I raised $600,000 and I went and got a loan for another 600, but I had never gotten a mortgage before. And so I was naive about that. And then we had a problem with the appraisal. And even though this was a green area where there weren't a lot of recent sales. So the appraisal came in low, which was stupid. So I lost my first mortgage. And now I'm thinking the seller's not I'm like running out of time. And my girlfriend said, they're pregnant on you. Just go ask for an extension. Tell them what happened with the loan. So I did. And I got an extension and I found another loan. And And we ended up closing, but then there were a bunch of problems. But in the end, on that deal, I think I had 12 partners. We made 399% on our money in over a 2-year period. We ended up leasing it to Walgreens and selling it to a Walgreens developer. And it was, but the work and the ups and downs that went into that deal were that can be a podcast all on its own. And lawyers, there was a lawyer involved and he kept saying, "You're never going to get this done. You're never going to get this done." And I'm like, and it was a guy lawyer. I'm like, watch me. It was like putting a red cape in front of a bull.
Oh my God. I love that. I love that kind of reaction. Just watch me. Like, you don't put your projections of what you can do onto me. You can't do it, but I can do it. I love that kind of confidence. And you saying that whole purchase and that it's like a value add for the commercial retail space. You said that could be a podcast on its own. I might take you up on that because I would love to have a master class and really just dig into the numbers on a deal like that. For anybody who's looking to get into the retail space, honestly, you just said 399% in 2 years. And I'm from the multifamily syndication world space, and it doesn't compare. And my mouth is dropped open, and I'm just like, okay, maybe I should exit multifamily
No,
altogether and just start investing with
yeah,
you because that's crazy.
no, don't do that because today I opened a Wawa. Today, I'm like literally opened a Wawa that I did a deal. I bought the property in 2016. I
Okay.
opened the Wawa today, and sorry, and we when we first started it, it was a home run, home run, home run, and today, 8 years later, if it's a single, if I can give everyone their money back and $1, I'll be happy.
Okay. So just like multifamily syndications, there's success stories and there's not so success, maybe break even money stories. So thank you for putting that out there. It's not all roses. So what happened with that one? Why since 2016 it hasn't been like projecting or producing the expected incomes?
It just one of the things is the cost. When you do a Wawa, you have to do site work, which means the utilities, the ground, electrical, soil, all this stuff. You prepare the ground and then they come in and build the building. My budget to do the site work for them was $895. Guess what it came in at the end?
I don't even want to guess.
Over 2 million.
896.
Over
896.
over 2 million.
Oh my God.
And I didn't do anything wrong. It's just that construction costs during that time frame, skyrocketed. So,
oh my God.
I was saying to one of my partners last night as we were getting ready for this morning, which we're very excited about, I said, I am 100% confident that I did the best I could do. I built a little Starbucks strip center, 3 tenants, and did the Wawa. I bought a 2-story office building, 1970s. We had budgeted $1 million to buy tenants out. I didn't spend the $1 million. I got all of the tenants out without paying them a penny. I knocked down the building. I built the Starbucks strip center. I brought in the Wawa. I got the highest rents possible. Everything was phenomenal. What wasn't phenomenal, I did none of my partners could look and say she didn't do a good job. The rents are the highest ever. The Wawa rent's high. Wawa typically does 10-year fixed deals. I got an increase in year 6. My partners, there's nothing I could have done differently or better, but interest rates are up. So when we go sell the Wawa for a 4.4 cap, 8 years ago, they were selling at 3.9 caps. That's another $500,000 right there. The construction costs going from $900,000 to $2 million. The time it took to get permitting, if the cities were faster, time and value of money. So I don't feel guilty whatsoever. I'm just disappointed for my partners that when we bought it for 5.8 and we're looking at the strip center rents and the Wawa rents and the cap rates, this was going to be a huge home run. And like I said, I'm going to be very happy if I give them I'll be able to return all of their money. I just don't know if they'll get anything more than that. And when you take people's money for 8 years and all you do is return them the money they gave you, that's a loss.
That is a loss. It's a loss because of just like interest gain and opportunity and things like that. So I understand that. But I I say it's a soft loss, but if it's better than like an actual, like they gave you 500 and you gave them 300 back.
Right.
At least it's the same amount. I know it's not in today's dollars what 8 years ago dollars are. So I get that. Um, understood. I think what the next thing about this is there's the pros and the cons about investing in retail, just like investing in any real estate. You have to be with an operator, even with an operator who knows what they're doing. You just sometimes market conditions are out of control and you can if something happens that you cannot project or project. So I understand that. I guess the next thing typically on average with the returns that you see that you're able to give to your limited partners, right? I know we had talked on another I think probably on your podcast when I was on your podcast or before after the airing we were chatting and you mentioned something about just the returns that you typically can give investors outside of and how it's different than syndicated returns.
Looking to build wealth with real estate? Are you all tapped out on YouTube University and ready to get help tailored to your specific situation and goals? Have you always known that you are a little different from the crowd, that you never liked following the status quo, and that you're just tired of living in mediocrity? You want to build wealth on your own terms outside of Wall Street? Well, then maybe the Microfamily Mavericks mentorship program can help with that. It's a community where I handhold you through the process of buying your first small commercial multifamily building because not everyone is ready for 100 units out the gate. Why multifamily? Because it gives your rental income a hedge against vacancy. Imagine what happens when your single family rental tenant leaves, right? And why commercial 5+ units? Because you have much more control over increasing the building's value in the commercial space and then in turn increasing your own net worth. Starting small is a stepping stone to so much more because then you can tap that equity and buy another building and another and another, and you get the point. So increasing your cash flow and your ability to be job optional along the way, it's all a part of the journey. So if you think big, but you want to start small, and if you know multifamily real estate is the way for you to open the door to building a life of freedom, abundance, and legacy, but you just need someone to guide you step by step, and you want to be surrounded by other people on the same journey, doing the same thing, then just click the link in the show notes to find out a little bit more about the Microfamily Mavericks, and I look forward to potentially seeing you on the inside. So now back to the show.
And so with syndicated returns, everyone, I'm talking about large, mainly anything could be a syndication, but I'm talking about in apartment, commercial apartment, residential, like you will buy an apartment complex and people live there. Those type of multifamily syndications have typical returns, normally over a 5 to 7, 8 year period before you they sell or get rid of the property, and you're supposed to have like extended value above that and all of that. And normally you get like a 6 to 8% preferred return, then you get like a 70 or 80% ownership of the whole pie, and then once it sells, you get your cut and all that, blah blah blah. Compared to that, what is typically done? Like, what's the average for retail commercial LPs to expect on an investment?
I think it's pretty similar. I mean, I've usually done between 6 and 8, right? So right now, the last deal that I put out, I think I had offered a preferred return of 7, because if you can put your money in the bank at 5, why would you risk, giving anyone like me money? So I think the last deal I had offered was a 7, but I've heard people that are offering 8% preferred returns. And just for the audience, that basically means that's the interest we owe you for as long as we have your money. And then I do a 20-80 promote, which means once I give you your money back, and I give you all of your preferred money back, I get 20% bonus off the top. And then all of the people who put money in split 80. Now, there are people right now in retail doing 50-50 promotes, which I think is pretty greedy and piggish. But when I've called them on it, they've said, well, we've oversubscribed on our last 5 deals, meaning there's so much money out there. I go, well, who in their right mind is going to give you money and only get a 50% split? And this gentleman said, well, most of my investors are doctors. So if I give them a 15% return on their money annually, they don't care if it's a 50 promote split.
Yeah, well, I guess it's all about having your investor base be the right avatar for what you're offering,
But
right?
for me, I've never done more. I think I did a development once where it was going to be a ton of work, and I did a 65-35, so 35% bonus, but most of mine are 20-80.
Okay, got that. Okay, now the last thing I want to kind of switch over to in this discussion, and actually we could dive into so many more details, but in any case, another time. Women, you mentioned the problem with women investing and how your 3 friends didn't want to invest with you until they saw the guys coming in. And I know that you have a huge like motivation and mission to get women in investing. That's exactly why we met in Wire, Women Investors, women in real estate, because you have such a mission and a heart for getting women to invest. Let's talk about that. Like,
Okay.
what are you doing for
Yeah.
getting women to invest and exposing them, and then the progress you've seen and issues and all of that?
Yeah. In 2019, or in 2020 during COVID, I was reading a lot, and I read a stat that of all of the commercial real estate investors in the US, only 3% were women. And of that 3%, Nicole, half were spouses of guys, women signing on the guys' guarantees, or inherited. So I'm part of 1.5%. I could not believe that. I was shocked. And I said, I have to do something about that, because that means women's families' wealth not growing. And I had gotten lucky where I had a guy, right, support me and help me get started. And I said, how can I help women? Why aren't women investing? So I started interviewing all of my friends who are in commercial real estate on a daily basis. They have free insider trading. I'm like, why are you not? Are you investing? Yes. What are you investing in? The stock market. What do you know about that? You're in commercial real estate. Why are you not? Well, I don't have $1 million. Oh, you don't need $1 million. Well, it's too risky. You don't think the stock market's risky? My Netflix stock dropped 80% in 2020. Well, I'm afraid. What are you afraid of? Losing money. Well, you could lose money in the stock market. So then I'd keep asking, because I was like a dog with a bone. And then it would really come down to, I don't know any women doing it. Well, that makes sense, because there's only 3%. So I said, that's a problem I'm going to work on. So I had a virtual summit during COVID, and I had 100 women sign up, and I put women on the stage. I interviewed them who were investing, because I said, I'm going to make it my mission to introduce everyone that's invested in 1 deal or 20 deals and get the word out that there are women doing it. Because I've learned that, like with my 3 girlfriends, if you can see it, you can be it, type of thing. And like they were worried. They thought it was risky. They didn't want to bet on me because I was a woman. But the minute the guys jumped in, it was crazy, right? So I had this virtual summit, and then 3 years in a row, I've had it in person, where it's in March. Nicole, you're going to be on the stage, right? Yeah.
I will be.
You're going
Yeah.
to be one of those women I'm interviewing. And what we do is I interview women that are investing in all different asset classes: student housing, fix and flips, warehouses, retail, hospitality. And then they go into breakout rooms where they do a deep dive on a deal, where this is how I found the deal, how I financed it, how I underwrote it, whatever. And I don't teach the women how to do it. I just inspire and motivate them. What I'm trying to do is, there are more than 3%. And then you ask, well, how am I doing? I don't know, because I have no way to track this. If anyone in your audience has an idea of how to do that, but this is how I track it. At the beginning of my conference, I go, who was here last year and hadn't invested yet and did since the conference? And usually 10 women stand up. So I know 40 women in 5 years have stood up and they have now started investing, which that's how I'm tracking it.
Yeah. Oh my God. I don't know. There should be like a bigger national kind of greater survey or database about women investing. I don't know how you would even do that.
And then I do a podcast now because I realized I only have 250 women at the conference. Like we only have 24 tickets left for March. So it's a very intimate group, sells out quickly. And I realized, and I don't want it to make it 300 or 400 because the intimacy of meeting each other, now women are investing with each other from the conference, which is amazing. So I want to keep it intimate. So what I said is, well, what else can I do? So I started this Wednesday podcast, Women Investor Wednesday podcast, where I get to just interview someone every Wednesday. Every time I find a woman, like anyone in your audience that's an investor, please reach out. I want you on the podcast. I don't care if you have one fix and flip or 3 or 40. I want you on the podcast because the more we get the word out that women are investing, more women will jump in the pool.
Oh, I have a ton of women to send your way. Definitely.
Awesome.
Okay. I'll start working on that.
Yeah.
Are you enjoying this episode? Then stop what you're doing right now. Head over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a rating and review. It really helps our show get pushed to more people who are looking for the information that we're sharing here. We have to share the wealth. If you listen to us on YouTube, make sure you like the episode that you're listening to right now and subscribe to our channel. Then share the channel with somebody else. There are people out there looking for the information you're listening to right now. So make sure you share it with someone who you know needs it. Now, back to the show. So what you're doing, just like step by step, little by little, doing what you can do, expanding it as much as you can, like that is as much as anyone can ask, right? There's not everybody is even doing that, right? There has been more like people in women in groups like springing up who are focusing on women becoming investors and spreading that message. And now I'm more of I'll keep my eye open more for like connecting you with other women investors and other groups who are also focused on women investing. Because there's so percentage wise for the whole country, it doesn't seem like a lot. It sounds small. 3% actually is not sound small. That is small. But when you're actually in it and you are an investor and you're networking out and you meet so many people, like I know so many women investors, and to me, it seems like 3% can't be right, because I just know.
And maybe it's not because like I don't know what it is, but all I know is we need more.
Yes, we definitely do. We definitely do. I completely agree with that. Don't argue with that at all. And I'm gonna be a little bit more intentional even about connecting the women investors, especially the ones who have the mission of empowering and getting women to be at the forefront of investing and actually get involved with investing. Be more intentional about making those connections as well. But that's also, like you said, if you see it, you can be it. That's kind of why I even started this podcast and my platform, because it's not just with women, it's with minorities and people of color and like all these other underserved groups of people who need to see other people like them who are doing it and who are on stages and all that. And I don't have a physical stage yet, but this is my virtual stage, like where I'm starting, right? And it'll get to a physical stage at some point.
Well, you're going to be on a physical stage in March.
I am going to be on a physical stage. Yes. Yes. I love that.
I had to beg you. I had to keep calling you. You've got to change your schedule. I need you on my stage, right?
Yes. And it's because like how when you had your kids
Family.
little, you had to break back down from your W-2 with the hours. It's kind of my same situation now, just trying to finagle time. So it actually works out because that is the week of their spring break and we're going to be down in Florida for family vacation. So I'm just going to take the family with me to the conference. So
Absolutely.
They'll be running around the hotel somewhere. We won't hear them screaming, I don't think. Oh.
That's okay. Well, not bringing up politics, but if Elon Musk can go into the Congress with his kid on his shoulders, we can bring our kids to things.
Oh, yeah. But if that was a woman doing that, it would be a whole uproar. Oh, my God. It'd be a whole uproar. But it's cute if a man does it, I guess. Anyway.
Yeah, crazy.
We'll deflect that. That's a whole another podcast too. Whole different podcast.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. So Beth, this has been a fantastic conversation. I really wish, and we talked. You mentioned it. I'm gonna have you back on another time to deep dive into something like this. Is too big of a conversation, and just the information that you have on canvassing and all of that. You have so many resources. You also, even though your event is more for the inspiration, you do have Azor Academy. I know I saw that, and you have other resources out there that you're actually teaching people the how to do it. Right? You have a couple of books out. What are your books?
Don't Say No for the Prospect is one of them, which is
Yes.
a bunch of stories on how your mindset, don't say, well, I'm not going to call that person. They don't want to sell to me. Well, that's already a no, just call them. Right. And then my second book is Retail Leasing Playbook. So it's the A to Z of how to lease a shopping center.
Perfect. So I will have the links to both of those books in the show notes. I will have the link to the summit that I'm going to be speaking at in the show notes. I'll have a link to Azor Academy in the show. Everything with Beth. You guys need to be following her and in her network. Even if you don't want to do commercial retail leasing right now, you never know what comes up. And there's other mindset things and information that you can learn from her, learn for canvassing for whatever you need to canvas for, right? Is a vital skill set that she has and she can help teach. Okay. So right now I'm going to switch over to the set of last questions that I ask every single guest.
Yep.
And we call this section the Digest with the Guest segment because the guests always give so much juicy tidbits of information. They need time to kind of chew it down and get it to digest into your system to really understand what's going on and to really incorporate it into your molecules and all the stuff, right? So in any case, first question. Warren Buffett said that diversification is protection against ignorance. What do you think that means? And is that a good or bad thing?
Oh my gosh, diversification is so important because, I was not on social media ever until my 24-year-old intern walked in and said, I think we should prospect on Facebook. And I said, well, that's how stupid is that? And then now my half of my deals come from Facebook prospecting and Instagram prospecting. So I think diversification with age, gender, race, everyone comes from a different perspective and you don't know what you don't know. So you need to have diversification.
Exactly. I agree. In the game of Monopoly, have you played Monopoly before?
We play it all the time.
Okay. Boardwalk or Baltic? What's your first purchase to win the game and why?
Boardwalk. You always got real estate, location. I think that the dice, you end up on the board on those two, Boardwalk or Park Place, statistically more than any other. So I always pay more for the better real estate. My shopping centers are in A+ locations. During COVID, I lost one tenant, just one. Why? Because my properties were in the best locations. I have people calling me all the time. Oh, you can buy the shopping center for $50 a square foot. I go, well, where is it? And it's in the middle of nowhere. And there's 40 shopping centers around it with a bunch of vacancy. I want to buy the one that's $400 a square foot with no other shopping centers around it and no other land to build any shopping centers around it.
Nice. And with some value add, or at least maintain that cash flow. Okay. What does wealth mean to you?
Freedom.
That's my answer too. Ultimately, it all boils down to that one word.
Freedom to be the room mom. Freedom to be the T-ball coach. Freedom to take a massage at 2:00 in the afternoon or a nap at 3:00.
I love that. Oh, I need a massage. Okay. 4, we ask each guest to create a question for the next guest. So as you think about your question, I'll ask the question that was left for you. And it doesn't have to be business. It could be anything. Business, personal, funny, serious, blah, blah, blah. I think Brittany and Kalani, when I asked them, they asked, do you brush your teeth before or after you put water on the toothbrush? You put the toothpaste on the toothbrush before or afterwards. So it doesn't have to be a serious question. So, but the question that was left for you is, would you rather make 12% on your money dispersed annually, or would you rather double your money in 5 years with no disbursements until you get your money back at the end. Do you get the question? I think
I
get
think
it.
12% because of the compounding.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And time, speed of money and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
12%.
Okay.
I take the 12%.
12% compounding. Love it. Sorry, what was the last thing you just said?
Set it and forget it.
Oh, yes. Love it. Okay. Now, do you have a question for our next guest?
My question would be, what is the one thing that people would be surprised to hear about you?
Ooh, I like that. Surprised. Got it. All right. So actually, last question. That's not the last one. Last question. How can our listeners connect with you? I know you're all over social media. Is there any preferred channel that or platform that you're on, or anyone? And
I think
let me know what that is.
Yeah, Twitter, I think is the one I'm on the most lately. There's so much education going on for at least my retail investments. I'm learning so much. It's like a master's degree. So I'm there most, but I check Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn every day also.
Okay.
But anyone can reach out to me and DM me on any of those 4 platforms. And I'm pretty good at responding.
Okay. Yes, and I know because I DM you with you on LinkedIn and I get response like within a day or less. Okay, perfect. Thank you again so much, Beth. I really appreciate this conversation. This was epic. There's so much information here. I hope this is helpful to our listeners, and I hope people reach out to you and come to the conference, get your books, do all the things because you have so much information to share, and I just appreciate you sharing it with us today.
Thank you, Nicole, for having me, and I can't wait to see you in person on stage in March.
Exactly. I can't wait. All right. Bye, everyone. Take care. And until next time, stay wealthy.
Did you love this episode of Share the Wealth Show? Be sure to connect with Nicole by following her on LinkedIn, Instagram, or Facebook. If you picked up any of the gems that were dropped by today's guest, make sure you not only put them in your bag, but if you know of someone who would benefit from this information, don't keep it to yourself. Share the wealth and make sure to leave us a rating and review. We'll see you for next week's episode. Subscribe so you'll be notified.